The Cuthrax Empire had ruled the outer spiral for 3 centuries, their predatory nature making them the apex species among the stars. They took what they wanted, conquered whom they pleased, and abandoned what broke. It was simply the way of things. The strong survived, the weak perished, and sentiment was a luxury reserved for cubs too young to know better. Captain Arlen understood this when her frigate, the Endurance, limped into Cuthrax space with failing life support and a crew of 23. The diplomatic mission had gone catastrophically wrong when a rogue asteroid field shredded their vessel. They needed help. They needed it desperately. The Cuthrax response was predictable. Silence. Arlen stood on the bridge, her uniform torn and stained with coolant, watching the massive Cuthrax station rotate slowly against the stars. It was a fortress bristling with weapons capable of housing 10,000 souls, and it ignored them completely. "Captain, oxygen at 14%, her engineer reported, his voice steady despite the tremor in his hands. Arlen nodded. She had sent the distress signal hours ago. Protocol dictated she wait. Humanity was new to this sector, barely a century into their galactic journey. They couldn't afford to offend the Cuthrax, but 14% meant they had maybe 4 hours. "Maybe. Send it again," she ordered. "All channels. Tell them we have wounded." The Cuthrax had a word for what the Endurance represented: chikara, broken prey. In their philosophy, helping the broken only delayed the inevitable and weakened the helper. Nature's way was to let broken things fail, so resources could flow to the strong. On the station, Shipmaster Vekthar reviewed the human distress signal for the 3rd time. His second-in-command, a scarred veteran named Shirok, stood beside him with arms crossed. "They persist," Shirok observed. "They are dying," Vekthar replied. "It is their nature to struggle. It will end soon." But it didn't end. The human captain, this Arlen, did something unexpected. She stopped asking for help. Instead, the Endurance began transmitting technical data. Specifications of their damaged systems, engineering schematics, even their own failed repair attempts documented in meticulous detail. "What is she doing?" Shirok wondered aloud. Vekthar's predatory eyes narrowed. "She is teaching." The broadcast continued for an hour. Captain Arlen's voice, growing noticeably weaker, explained each system failure. She documented their jury-rigged solutions, their innovative attempts to bypass broken components, their collaborative problem-solving. It was a masterclass in human engineering, delivered to an audience that refused to listen. "Oxygen at 8%, Captain," the engineer whispered. Arlen's hand trembled as she gripped the console. "Keep transmitting. Someone might learn something." In the station's education wing, a group of Cuthrax cubs had discovered the human broadcasts. Their instructor, Elder Mira, tried to shut it off, but the cubs protested. They were fascinated by these strange aliens who refused to accept their fate. One cub, small for his age and named Tavi, watched with wide eyes as Captain Arlen calmly explained how her crew had cannibalized their personal quarters, heating systems to extend life support by precious minutes. "Why don't they just wait for the strong to save them?" another cub asked. "Because they are broken," Mira explained. "And the broken must—" "No," Tavi interrupted, his voice quiet but certain. "Humans don't leave broken things." The statement hung in the air. Mira opened her mouth to correct him, but Tavi pointed at the screen where the human crew worked together. The strong helping the weak, engineers supporting wounded soldiers, everyone contributing despite their failing bodies. "Look," Tavi said. "They fix, they help. They don't leave each other." The other cubs murmured in agreement. It was a radical thought, one that contradicted everything they'd been taught, but they could see it with their own eyes. Elder Mira stared at the screen, watching Captain Arlen steady a young crewman who could barely stand, helping him complete a crucial repair. The human captain was burning her own dwindling oxygen to save someone weaker. Mira's claws trembled. Then she ran. She burst into Shipmaster Vekthar's command center. "The cubs," she gasped. "They're watching. They're learning the wrong things." Vekthar turned, confusion marking his features. "What wrong things?" "That broken things can be fixed. That the weak deserve help. That—" Mira struggled for words. "That sentiment is strength." Vekthar pulled up the feed. He saw his son Tavi, watching these dying humans with something dangerous in his eyes. Hope, belief, a new philosophy taking root. "Oxygen at 4%. The human engineer's voice crackled over the broadcast. Captain, we need to seal the bridge. Everyone else to the emergency pod. Negative, Arlen responded. We stay together. We fix this together, or we fail together. Vekthar's predatory instincts warred with something he'd never felt before. These humans were teaching his cubs that broken things mattered, that the collective was stronger than the individual, that leaving no one behind was not weakness but the ultimate strength. It was infectious, dangerous, revolutionary, and perhaps necessary. Shirok, Vekthar growled. Launch rescue operations, full medical team. Now. His second-in-command stared. Shipmaster? Now. Vekthar roared. Before my son learns to be ashamed of me. The Cuthrax rescue ships reached the Endurance with 90 seconds of oxygen remaining. Captain Arlen, barely conscious, watched through blurring vision as the station she'd thought would let her die instead, mobilized its entire emergency fleet. Tavi stood in the station's observation deck, watching the rescue. His father appeared beside him. Why did you save them, father? Tavi asked. Vekthar placed a heavy claw on his son's shoulder. Because you were right, cub. Humans don't leave broken things. And after today, neither will we. The saying spread, first through the Kethrax station, then their fleet, then across the Empire. Within a year, the philosophy had transformed their culture. Rescue became honor. Repair became strength. Helping the broken became the mark of true power. And Captain Arlen, recovered and returned to service, received a transmission from Shipmaster Vekthar. It contained one line. The fleet is sending help, always. Humanity had taught the predators something more powerful than any weapon, that civilization's true measure isn't in what it conquers, but in what it refuses to abandon.